Hello guys, this video let's talk about queue configurations. Okay, we have explained how we configure the queue structure using capacity scheduler. So in this video, let's explain the fair schedulers configurations. Again, fair scheduler, same thing. We're going to use a configuration file. As we see here, this very short configuration file. So let's go through the configurations items one by one. Same thing. Now let's assume we are trying to specify a queue structure as we did before in the capacity. So if we specify a queue structure like this, okay, hierarchical. We have a production DEV to department top level, and under DEV we have ENG and signs. Okay, how do we specify a queue structure like this? Using a fair scheduler. Now, first of all, fair scheduler, you can specify queue structure. That's the truth. And then how do we specify that? Again, using the configuration file. The way to define the configuration items is kind of a bit different, okay? And definitely we do not expect everything will be the same. No. So how do you specify a queue structure in capacity scheduler? No, it will be different from how do you specify the queue structure using fair scheduler. Okay. So let's look at this. First item, default queue scheduling policy is fair. What is this? These items tells fair scheduler that the default queue scheduling policy would be fair. What is the default queue scheduling policy? For example, here I will use QA as an example. I have one application running, job 1 is running there. If there's another application submitted to QA, then I have 2 applications right there. And by default, the scheduler is going to start fairly distributed resources among applications. This is a default queue scheduling policy. In contrast, when you use, as we learned before, when you use capacity scheduler policy, if you're using capacity scheduler, the default scheduling policy is first in, first out. That means if a new application submitted to QA right here, then that application will be put behind job 1. Okay? It cannot start a run until job 1 is finished. Again, in contrast, in the fair, I can define here using this item to define the default queuing policy is fair. Okay. Now I'm going to start define my queues. As you see, these items defines queues. I have 2 queues defined, PROD and DEV. I'm using 2 items to define them. Okay. And for the PROD production queue, the weight is 40 and the scheduling policy is FIFO, first in, first out. Okay. The weight is the amount of resources assigned there. So by default, I can assign 40% of resources. Here, no, you can just think 40%. The textbook says is ratio, but it's okay to think 40%. Okay. This is 40%. And next, the DEV queue, the weight is 60. So it's kind of a 40-60 ratio. This is how you divide the resources between 2 base queues. You may notice that the queue ENG and the signs are the sub queues under DEV. Okay. Between ENG and the signs is not specified. If not specified, the default is 50-50. That means fairly distributed. If there's 2 queues, ENG and signs, it's 50-50. If I assume we have 3 queues, ENG, signs, and maintenance, then each one of them will take 1/3. Okay, that's the default way to assign resource among multiple queues. What is a placement policy? We explained before in the capacity scheduler. Put it simple, queue placement policy is the rules that tells the scheduler when the application is submitted to Hadoop, where to put that application, to put which queue, okay? Here we see 3 rules. This rule will be examined one by one by the scheduler, and when you try to make a decision about where to put the application. So when the application is submitted, first rule is specified. That means the application itself tells scheduler which queue I want to be in. And if not specified, then the scheduler gonna try the second rule, primary group. Primary group means which department or which user group that this user belong or this application belong. If I'm in production department, then the application I submitted will be based on the primary group rule, and my application will be put into a production queue. Second, if the second rule doesn't matter, then goes to the third rule, default. Default is the thing that's gonna catch everything. Then your application will be put into DEV. Under DEV, there's an ENG queue. So everything else will be put in there. That's a default queue to be put in. So again, the 3 rules will be tried one by one. When anything met, then good. If not met, I'm gonna try the second, I'm gonna try until the last. Okay, that's the queue placement policy. In another video, I'm gonna explain more about the queue placement policy.